The monster, the Audi Sport Quattro S1. With over 600 turbo horsepower, Martian-like appearance and a brutal sound, the S1 still attracts drivers and fans in its wake more than any other rally car in the world.
The Audi S1 embodies the era of Group B like no other car. It's just a brute of a car, and there is, I believe, no other car in Group B which reflects the time in the same way.
The Sport Quattro S1 is the wildest of a crazy era. The Audi all-wheel myth and other rally icons at Rally Legend in San Marino, now on Classic Rides. San Marino in the 80s, when once a year the hordes of FIA Group B World Championship race cars met in the tiny country near Rimini. Then the Mini Republic was transformed into a madhouse of motorsport. The spectators line the route tighter than crash barriers and celebrate the victory in 1985 of two legends, the Audi S1 and Walter Röhrl. In San Marino today, a World Championship race no longer takes place, but at the Rally Legend each autumn, the golden era of rally history is relived again, whether it's a Quattro, Ford RS200, Lancia Delta Integrale, and BMW E30 cars. Spectators send the city into a state of euphoria, and when an Audi S1 and Michael Gerber flies past, the earth quakes.
Veranstaltung hier ist quasi eine Zeitreise. Eine Zeitreise zurück 20,
This event
25,
is one hell of a journey. It's a journey through time, going back 20, 25, 30 years and even further. The organisers have added a profile here, exactly the same as how past rallies were driven. So there's service and limited times between the tests, because there's no time to mess around. I think that from a very formulaic idea, a mega event is developed, and it gets bigger each year. And I must say, it's the only event I know of that is really accepted, visited and participated in by so many ex- and active world champions and really good drivers.
Meanwhile, many historical works teams participate. Unfortunately, the weather does not play along with the game. Just before the first stage, a shower of rain pours down. The former World Championship cars from Audi are close together in the paddock. The crew of Michael Gerber checks the S1 again prior to takeoff. The checks are made in such a conscientious way that you'd think the car is being driven at a World Championship event and not a historical rally. But with over 600 horsepower, drivers and spectators must be able to rely on their tools.
With the oil and all the stuff, has it worked? Everything is sealed, gear sealed, engine sealed. But as I said, it seems the weather now has completely changed. There's wind at the back, the clouds are coming. I think that in 2 or 3 hours, it will be here. I would prefer it if we knew for definite. Let's put wet tyres on it and leave it at that, shall we?
But before the mechanic can mount the rain tyres, they have to still check that the brakes and all the screws are on the chassis.
That's just a routine check. It's what they usually do after each test. Well, now that we have time, we can check each screw again. All screws on this car are secured with a coil coating like this, and we can see whether or not the lacquer has eroded. If it has eroded, the screw is likely to have loosened. But here, that's not the case.
Because of past experiences, the team has packed plenty of spare parts this time.
When you drive the original, and with original parts, then you sometimes take the risk that 1 or 2 of the parts could just break down or run the risk of not having any spare parts. We drove here 2 years ago, and then the chassis broke, and we did not have a spare chassis here. That was simply bad luck. But basically, you can say that the Audi is a very solid and stable car.
Nevertheless, Michael Gerber only sits in one of the last S1 Sport Quattro built each year for 2 events, one of which is the Rally Legend. For his crew of mechanics, it's always a highlight to work on the undulating cultural piece.
This is, of course, technology from the past, but what is really great is what they were able to do in those days. You have to take your hat off to them. And for me, it's a real honour to be working on the car. It's such a privilege to have such a car in your hands. Absolutely amazing.
The Lord of the Rings, the Audi Sport Quattro S1, the monster. The S1 rally version was built only 20 times. It's estimated that there are still another 16 or 17 models running. The S1 is 32 centimeters shorter than the regular Quattro, and this means it's more agile around tight corners. The basic version of the Sport Quattro is Audi 80, excluding the B-pillar, and with the B-pillar, it's the Audi Coupe. To save weight, the interior is completely stripped. In addition to this, many body parts are made of polyester resin or from Kevlar fabric or epoxy resin.
Basically, the S1 differs from the Quattro Sport from pre-press through the aerodynamics. They've mounted a spoiler here, have made air ducts so that the car, if you fly over hills for example, also drives with moderation, or even has a certain pressure on asphalt. The engine in this car is in front of the front axle. That used to be a disadvantage for some reason. It may have been because this was the era of mid-engine cars like Lancia or MG Metro, so the weight was placed in the trunk. Here you have the air power to cool the whole liquid, gas cooler, oil cooler, which you have here. It's almost like a tail on an airplane, which of course was coordinated with the aerodynamics of the front spoiler. If you watch old films like the 1000 Lakes, for example, where you can see Hannu Mikkola flying over the peaks, you can then see how this spoiler works in principle.
Now
let's have a quick look back here. So everything's set back here, like the cooler, for example. Oil, the oil housing. This is a dry sump engine that doesn't have an oil sump, in theory, but a closed circuit. And also the battery, which usually sits at the front, or the alternator. Everything is set at the back to take away as much weight as possible. It prevents an overload at the front to the rear. All the requirements necessary in order to achieve balanced driving. You have to admit that the interior of the car is actually very comfortable, especially when you compare it to all the other cars of that era. As a driver, you have a lot of space. It's apparent there's no engine at the back. There's also no tank where one would normally sit. This car has a bit of an aircraft character to it. In addition to the normal instruments such as speedometer, tachometer, boost pressure, oil and water temperature, there are very many switches, as you can see. Virtually every feature of the car has its own fuse. That's very important in rally cars, so that when a function ceases, others won't be affected. And up here is something that was a novelty back then. There is virtually a separate switch for each lamp. You can work your headlamps, fog lamps, the third pair, the fourth pair, all in an individual mode, and switch them off. This, of course, has the advantage during fog. You could create very specific lighting conditions to actually see what you want to see. The creator of this mechanism was Walter Röhrl. He worked very hard on it and was way ahead of the others under certain circumstances. And that's because, as I said, he could simply turn off some of the lights. There are two fuel pumps, one for replacement, and here's where everything you need is held. A reading lamp, radio, light, etc. These are the main power switches that are turned on. Then the whole instrument panel goes on to tools, such as gasoline pumps, and below, the start button. Actually, this is the heart of the car. Here, are the engine electronics. The Italians call it centralina. It almost works like a spare part. If you have a problem, you can immediately swap cables. This is a typical holding device, which you close off, and then you can immediately continue with the second electronic set. Only in this car, here on the right, is the control for the PDK transmission. But what you can see here is not what we have for the Rally. We have a normal conventional drive shaft, so as not to burden the PDK. Unfortunately, because there are only two pieces, when they are broken, they're not replaceable.
Nicht zu belasten, weil es gibt nur noch 2 Stück und wenn die kaputt sind, sind die leider unwiederbringlich. Das sieht jetzt alles wild aus.
Everything here looks wild, but if you have to deal with it on a regular basis, you have to get used to it. It's a bit like a section of flesh and blood, and if you're used to it, it's no longer an issue. It's not a problem. You get to know which fuse belongs where and how it works. The seats are, of course, modern seats, because the old seats can be fragile. We still have the original seats, but we have to drive with modern belts, as there is a health and safety issue. The co-driver still sits very much further back and down. Principles have previously been learned that weight distribution is a factor, and the balance of the car is affected the farther down and the farther back you go.
Nach links und rechts freie Sicht haben und hat letztendlich auch was mit der Gewichtsverteilung zu tun. Je weiter unten und je weiter hinten ist die Balance des Autos natürlich ein Thema.
The first Audi Rally champion Hannu Mikkola is there at the Rally Legend, not with the S1, but with the Quattro. Mikkola is one of the most successful rally drivers of all time. He's won 19 World Championship races. Per Eklund, a former Rallycross European champion and twice winner of the Pikes Peak, starts with an original replica of the 1980 Rally Monte Carlo Golf. Le Mans legend and Formula One World Championship runner-up Jackie Ickx with his Porsche car that won the Dakar in San Marino. But Ickx still has problems with rally routes.
I'm not used to it. I wasn't last year and I'm still not. When I'm starting, I always go, oops, what's going to happen? Italy, Italians, cars, rallying San Marino. It's fantastic.
It's back to 80s now, a long time to go. It's interesting. And see what type of car we have here in 80s. They are still quick, man. It's a lot of things have happened the last 25, 30 years with the suspension and all the things. And it's good fun, very good fun to be there. First time for me.
Oh, it's, you know, like coming home. I have spent a lot of time in that car, and you know, it's a very nice chance to just to remember all that, you know.
Other legends such as Timo Salonen, Marcus Grönholm, Mickey Bayashin and Juha Kankkunen take their place in the San Marino.
This is the only event I know of that is really accepted, used and visited by so many ex and active world champions and good drivers.
The first stage in the Rally Legend takes place at night. Michael Gerber is looking forward to drifting in the dark.
It used to be that you drove long distances at night. So, at the Monte Carlo, for example, you had to drive all night. And there's something very special about that. It's also typically rally-ish, with lights. It's really cool.
Night stages, and in addition, the horsepower stars of yesteryear. At the Rally Legend, the old times of rally live again. At the start, the Porsche 959, with which Jackie Ickx won the Paris-Dakar. And a whole armada of Audi Sport Quattros. The Golf GTI with Per Eklund. And the Ford RS200. And then Michael Gerber gets ready with his co-pilot in the S1 for the first Italian low-level flight through the night. It's very special for every driver to be at the San Marino Rally, and Michael Gerber knows that all eyes are on his S1.
When it starts now, we drive the first test. Before you begin, in your head, you go through what's going on, and then it begins.
As with the World Championship race, co-driver Peter has noted exactly all records for his announcement in the prayer book. The Audi should move fast, but still arrive safely at the finish line.
The biggest expectation for an event like this is, of course, to come through without any problems. All you want is that the car simply holds out and that nothing gets broken. We always have a little something, like a spark plug broken. You want to have a clean drive through, not to collide or get stuck, which can happen from time to time when you move quickly, but just to drive through here and on Saturday evening cross the finish ramp and drink a glass of champagne.
Like when driving a World Championship race, every car has to be presented on the launch pad to the audience. Then off it goes towards the first stage. After the rally management has controlled the route, the hunt begins through the night. And none of the participants spares himself or his car. It's all go on full attack. After all, no one wants to give to the many fans of the track a weak performance. With 600 horsepower and an acceleration of 2.9 seconds to 100, Michael Gerber at least goes into the first few corners a little more cautiously.
The first meters are always critical, as you have to work out what the grip conditions are like. There can be a problem here during the shorter stages because you have to wait a long time and the tyres are cold. You need to sort out the first corner, and then the grip kicks in. You get a better feel for it, and then it's full on.
Warm tyres and all-wheel drive make the grip of the S1 unbeatable. Despite its enormous power, the Audi races like it's on tracks through the night. Many other drivers, on the other hand, do without this perfect grip. They have extra narrow tyres in order to be able to offer the fans something more.
When you're there at night, going up the hill, you can hear the fans shouting. Despite the car being so unbelievably loud, in particular for the driver, this is something really special.
The rally legend is anything but a walk in the park. At the end of each of the 10 challenging stages, the time control and the lap times are recorded accurately to 1/100th of a second. It's the overall fastest time that wins at the end of the rally. Outside of the standings, only the old Group 5 cars drive. Because the FIA banned over-motorized vehicles from 1986, this monster horsepower may not start competitively. The enthusiasm of the fans doesn't detract from this embargo. They often wait patiently for hours at night until eventually the Group 5 cars, like the Audi S1, come back around. If you don't drive Audi and still want to make an impression, the Tifosi knows that crazy is more, like the pilot of this BMW E30. A typical example is this Fiat 124 Abarth Spider. In 1974, it won the original rally in San Marino. Lancia's answer to the Audi Quattro in the early 80s was the 037, a mid-engine car with rear-wheel drive. The Austrian Christoph Klausner is at the wheel of the Quattro Sport, the predecessor of the S1. He has no fear of crashing when accelerating, just like Michael Gerber.
Conquest and courage. The fact is that you have to watch yourself when you're out there, so less is more. You can be aggravated very quickly, which is very annoying.
With the S1, Michael Gerber is definitely the crowd's favourite, especially with his spectacular driving style. Many fans on the track are keen on the Lancia Delta and the Group A world champion of 1986, the Golf 2 GTI by Dieter Depping. A long time past midnight and the first leg of the rally legend is finally over and the cars are on the finish ramp. Most of the 160 vehicles have returned unscathed, as with the 131 Fiat. Michael Gerber brings his Audi Sport Quattro S1 to the finish line with no defects or bumps. In the Golf 1 of Per Ekland, the gear change has to be replaced during the night as the second gear is stuck. Even if the Group 5 vehicles, such as the S1 by Michael Gerber, are not officially allowed to compete, unofficially, of course, all the special stages are measured, and that has shown that the Audi is still one of the frontrunners. It goes without saying that none of the wild Group 5 riders want to destroy their historical pieces, but no one wants to show themselves up either. While some still have to work long into the night on their cars, as with the mechanics with the transmission of the Golf 1 of Per Ekland, others can relax. Michael Gerber, however, is already planning the next day.
Morgen soll es trocken bleiben und hoffentlich auch für die Zuschauer wieder die Sonne rauskommen, aber so einfach so
Tomorrow
weitermachen.
it will stay dry, and hopefully the sun will come out for the audience. It has been so much fun, and now he's going to sleep and I will have my good night beer. Then early tomorrow morning, it's back to life again.
Thanks to the reliable technology of the Audi S1, the mechanics don't have to work anymore tonight, and so can also enjoy another beer. The sunshine the next day. With optimal grip, Michael Gerber pushes the S1 to the limit.
We are clearly driving fast, but I think with this weather today, it'll be a lot of fun. For the thousands of people on the area, it's brilliant weather and will be a great experience. Really good fun.
Walter Röhrl made the Audi S1 Quattro rally legend famous. The two-time world champion knows only too well what the risks are when you fly fast with the car.
If you wait until there's something wrong with the car, then you are in trouble and need help.
More from the Audi Quattro S1 from its history and the second part of the rally legend San Marino in the next episode of Classic Rides.